Thanks to Miss Spudnut and KFlandThePlan for helping with the funding for this video. If you'd like to get your own special shout out, your username in the credits, early access to videos, or other perks, consider pledging to the Patreon or Ko-fi today. The links are in the description. Your financial support will definitely help boost production on other videos to come in the future. Thank you, and enjoy. So, we're slowly approaching the end of the year, fellas. You feeling tired? Oh, I know I am. Hardships and fights were had by plenty in different ways throughout, but hey, perhaps we can hopefully put those crushing negative feelings aside for a bit, because today, it's Christmas again! Ha! Yes, the holidays have come back to us, folks. It's that time of cheer, goodwill, companionship, and of course, getting a fill of that nostalgic festive entertainment from different media. And over the last couple years, I went into a hefty variety of Christmas movies, from those Christmas Carol retellings to the Christmas sequels and Christmas song-esque movies, including the Rankin Bass movies a couple times, and even some of the most infamous of Christmas movies. Oh god, I still remember those. But hey, this year, maybe we can go into something a little shorter while still covering a decent amount of ground. There are so many different shows we've seen throughout our years growing up. Well, sometimes there's a chance the crew of said shows might want to add a special Christmas episode to give their share of the holiday spirit too. Or at least provide an episode fit with the festive atmosphere you might feel in your living room. And sometimes that can be fairly common when it comes to cartoons and anime. We've all seen plenty of those, right? Well, when the season starts to roll around, there's always that chance the producers will get enough of that festive mood for themselves to make an installment of the shows for the fans to enjoy by Christmas time. And even years after our childhoods, there might still be some that we all fondly look back on for the season. So this Christmas Day, I figured I'd pull up some of these Christmas episodes I enjoyed from different shows like these, whether they were directly from my childhood or a few meager years ago. The stuff I found very unique when it comes to entertainment, or the spirit, or just very touching and endearing. Well, that aside, let's all gather by the Christmas tree and find a spot on the couch, grab some hot chocolate, and see what I found on the old TV here. Ah, so many choices. What should we start with? So we begin with one of the first specials I could ever remember watching in my life, and even the first installment I've ever seen from this show in particular, Arthur's Perfect Christmas. Yeah, the show may have ended a while back, and PBS Kids might be a lot different nowadays, but hey, I'm sure a lot of us will always remember how entertaining, insightful, and sometimes touching the show could be. And this special did a great job showcasing all that too. So we all know what kind of kid Arthur is. Well, here he has his own plans for Christmas this year that he thinks will make it perfect. From the dinner, to the tree, to the weather, and especially keeping that glass bird safe for his mom. Aside from Arthur and his story, this special had a decent balance of obstacles the side characters face during the holiday season. Whether it's Buster trying to ease his mom from staying on the edge throughout Christmas, or the conflict between Muffy and Francine between the holidays.
It's not like Hanukkah is as important as Christmas.
You're such a bitch.
What did you say? How rude!
And they even managed to fan some other story arcs to show other signs of representation for other holidays and other traditions from some of the smaller characters. Like with Brain and his family preparing for Kwanzaa, or George and his family celebrating Christmas in the Swedish style, or maybe even Binky preparing to make his own recipes.
I don't like it very much.
But these characters go through different moments and discussions leading to insight and understanding that led to satisfying endings for everyone. Muffy learns more about Francine's love of Hanukkah, Buster forms a more comfortable bond with his mom for the holidays, and of course there's Arthur going through Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, while a lot of the outcomes go pleasantly surprising for him. Unexpected, but still pleasing. Overall, it had its moments that were amusing, and some were fairly touching, and it all made a pretty sweet and enjoyable tale for all of them. Even in recent years, I still find this to be a nice watch for the holidays, and even all the way back then, I found this to be a wonderful first experience for the show altogether. Speaking of firsts, we have Simpsons roasting on an open fire, or the Simpsons Christmas special. Here it is, the show's first full-length episode.
The one that started the whole thing!
This would be one of the show's first steps away from Tracy Ullman on the path to becoming its own thing. And my god, what a thing it's become. Apparently enough of a thing to last over 35 years and spanning 800 episodes. And as a big starter for the show, this had what I remember as a fairly strong example of Homer showing his family side. All while he's going through a lot of trouble trying to get extra money to save the family's Christmas after being turned down from his bonus.
You get nothing! You lose!
He puts himself through different routes, from shortcuts finding presents to putting himself through a whole Santa routine, and sweetly adopting Santa's little helper in the end. It's a nice story about Homer worrying about disappointing his wife and kids with their financial situation, so he resorts to different things to fix everything before they find out, big and small. Though from a distance it may not be anything too unique, but that's the thing. This is a down-to-earth scenario that I'm sure a lot of people can likely relate to. It may not be as big as other stuff we got from some of the much later episodes, but for the first big break, it's very stable. There's a good chance you'll likely see yourself in Homer's shoes in just about any given situation in your life, and thus want to see him succeed even more. It's one of those things that can come off pretty endearing and moving the older you get, and it's all boosted up by the simple charm of the visuals and animation from the earlier seasons, fairly solid introduction for some of the characters and what to expect from them, well, except maybe for Ralph. Call me stupid, but for the longest time I had no idea that was him. And this episode also shines with some cozy Christmassy atmosphere in a lot of shown areas, and a sample of decently written jokes too.
Maggie is walking by herself? Lisa got straight A's, and Bart, well, we love Bart.
Now I'm sure we've all seen at least a one-off Christmas episode from any particular anime, whether it's in Teasing Master Takagi-san, where Nishikata and Takagi spend all of Christmas Eve together, or maybe in Komi Can't Communicate, where all of Komi's friends gather at her place for a party. Those are very doable watches on their own, and maybe I'll give them more of a spotlight next year if I get the chance, but for now I'd like to focus on a Christmas special from what I find to be more of an underrated show, School Rumble. As a whole, it's a goofy, over-the-top show with an endearing side to it. And that's all greatly shown through Harima as we see him change from being this threatening school punk to slowly softening up as he spends more time around Tenma. For one thing, in this episode, it's oddly appealing to see Harima wearing a Santa suit, as well as seeing this more festive side of him. This shows him having the kind of feeling you'd see from one in the festive season, and it shows when he sticks with it even with the obstacles he faced in this episode, and yet he's still willing to go through all that. Going between meeting his job's deadline and spending a little time with Tenma before the holidays, it almost makes you forget he used to be a brute to his classmates, and it shows how far he's gone as a character up to that point, that as well as the other interactions he's had over time. And this growth extends even further in this episode, as he reveals his comic art career directly to Tenma. On the side, his physical strength is very much on display, as shown during his extreme race back to the office before they close for the holidays. And even with all this zaniness and action, they can still show moments with emotion and learning among the characters, leading to a nice calm reconciliation, and presumably a just as nice Christmas party at the office. You know, as a kid, I used to specifically wonder from time to time, hey, is it possible they could make a snappy-paced and doable Christmassy adventure for Batman outside of Batman Returns? Well, little did I know I'd get my answer sometime later after learning about the iconic animated series, and from there, seeing that one episode for myself, Christmas with the Joker. Now already, the show itself had some memorable casting. Of course, we know Mark Hamill as the Joker and the late Kevin Conroy as Batman, and already, for just the second episode of the show, this did a great job presenting how well they could work off each other. So basically, Batman has that itching feeling that someone will have the nerve to cause trouble, even on Christmas Eve. Which, hey, this is a hero show, so you know something's gonna happen. But despite all this, Robin's hoping they'll have time to watch It's a Wonderful Life regardless. And even the Joker has his own Christmas spirit to show in different forms too. From his henchmen, to his gadgets, to his own TV special, even his escape from Arkham was surprisingly festive. And as you'd expect from the Batman title, there's all the action, from the fight scenes, the suspense, the quirky Joker interactions, and other details you'd expect from something in this franchise. While a good portion of this may be predictable for some, this is still a nice choice for something to watch for the holidays. It's certainly not a cozy choice per se, but it still has enough of that Christmas atmosphere to get you in the feel, and it's a must-watch for anyone who by chance hasn't seen it yet after all this time, but is still a fan of the franchise overall. It's been a while since I've seen anything from this show, but I was recently reminded that the Kaguya-sama movie, The First Kiss That Never Ends, does count as a Christmas special too. Mind you, it's not until Act 4 of the movie when that old Xmas Atmos really kicks into gear, but up until then, there are still characters planning out what they're gonna do once Christmas Eve finally comes around. And for a handful of that time in between, Kagi is trying to process her feelings towards Shirogane after some, earlier interactions from previous episodes. And for the most part, this leads to her fighting between the different forms of her from inside, whether it's with the hardened ice Kaguya, or the precious little Kaguya. Ooh.
Isn't she cute?
Am I
they're cutie, absolutely, and a beauty you can bet your patootie.
This also leads into some history and inner fears coming from both Shirogane and Kaguya, giving you more of an understanding from each side, and adding heft to both of their positions once they have their big Christmas Eve moment together. And of course, there are some extra funnies thrown in as they have their holiday gathering at Chica's place. And let's face it, she always knew how to add her own unique charm to a given scenario too. Sure, this movie may not be as substantial as other Christmassy installments out there, but when they do get to Christmas Eve in this movie, that's when the feels and some amusing moments for balance really come into play. And it's topped all off with a nice story and maybe curiosity for those who want to see where said story goes from here too. Going a bit more into the cartoon side, I'd like to give two particular episodes a shared segment, as they both have fairly similar structures, a naturally negative character developing a touching realization through someone else's Christmas cheer and generosity. These episodes being Pinky and the Brain's A Pinky and the Brain Christmas, and SpongeBob's Christmas Who? From one we have Squidward refusing to believe in Santa, nor taking part in any of the Christmas preparations after SpongeBob shares all he heard about from Sandy, and on the other we have a more drastic scale of a story, but still fairly common with their kind of show, as Brain and Pinky are hightailing their way to the North Pole to produce and ship out Brain's mind control device. More similarities are shown throughout these two episodes, as we see Pinky have his build-up with his letter to Santa and Brain constantly pushing it away, and Squidward having his expected screen time to be an ass.
This Christmas feels like the very first Christmas. The first Christmas is this Christmas.
Oh, that's not very nice. It's just a donkey.
But then this is where there's more of a split up in the outcomes. Some of you might prefer the outcome with Squidward dressing up as Santa and giving away all the stuff to the residents, or maybe you prefer the outcome with Brain backpedaling, giving up on his plan at the last minute so everyone, including him and Pinky, can enjoy their Christmas. As for me personally, I feel both these episodes have their own strength. While it may have gotten obvious after a while in their story, I like the build up with Pinky's letter and Brain's sweet reaction to it, developing softer feelings for Pinky as he starts to see the feelings that Pinky has for him back. Meanwhile, I also enjoyed the fast-paced jokes of Christmas Who. Sure, there are still great jokes with Pinky and the Brain, but SpongeBob's episode always had those kinds of jokes I can't help but quote a bit more often. Plus, Christmas Who gave us that Christmas song among the characters I'm sure we all remember by now, and it gave us Patchy and Potty's debut, and we know by now they led to some bigger highlights in the show later on. Maybe you have your own preference between these episodes yourself? Or maybe you enjoy both. I'd completely understand either way, as I also think these episodes were honestly great in their own way. Although, with Christmas Who on the mind, I guess I should eventually get around to watching the other Christmas episodes SpongeBob had. But for now, maybe we'll save that for a different video. And thinking about characters showing a more generous side around the holidays, it reminds me of another particular example. So, with it in mind, let's wrap up the anime segments with probably the most memorable form of the holiday cheer I've seen in this field, the Toradora Christmas trilogy. I enjoyed watching the show way more than I was expecting when I first saw it, and there's still pieces of it I like to this day. The Christmas arc, of course, being one of said bigger pieces. It feels rather nice and cheerful seeing all the characters getting ready for the holidays, whether they're gathering together to decorate the Christmas tree or preparing themselves all the way up to the big Christmas Eve party. And not only that, a happier and softer side is present in Taiga thanks to her love for the holiday season and her hopes of meeting Santa. All this together is a pretty sweet trait based on a few other things we've seen from her in earlier episodes, and it gives her a chance to go into some of her history as well as some character depth. And all this set up in the first episode flows well into the second and third episode too. It's very charming as a whole seeing the decorations coming out across town and seeing everyone's different Christmas preparations, especially seeing everyone gathering for the party, and definitely getting to see Ami and Taiga put up with each other enough for their Holy Night performance. And it also gave us that song that just about every fan fondly remembers. Sure, there might be some moments throughout these episodes that might feel off, like maybe sudden moments or decisions between characters that might not feel right for some viewers, but they still had a great level of thought and planning that fits in with the rest of the show, and just as great a cozy factor for the Christmas season, both for the characters and possibly a lot of viewers too. And as for its place in the show itself, it looks like the 3-episode length made a fairly pleasant balance to deliver everything they wanted to for this arc in the story, kind of making this, if nothing else, worth a bit of a watch, I'd say. And finally, let's conclude with a Charlie Brown Christmas. One of the biggest festive classics I'm sure we've all seen many times in our lives, and it looks like it still holds up pretty well after all these years. There was just so much to admire here, both for the laughs and for the heart. A lot of iconic scenes and jokes from the Peanuts franchise came from this special, or at least was first seen by a lot of the fans here. Whether it's the Snoopy and Linus blanket gag, or the iconic scene with all the characters dancing.
Alright everyone, we've got to get on with our play!
Jesus, this sucks. All they keep doing is dancing around.
And on the more caring side, there's the whole premise about Charlie Brown trying to enjoy Christmas without everyone cramming all that commercialism and consumerism down his throat. And at first he starts getting support from some characters, like Lucy and Linus, but then his confidence is shattered all over again when he starts getting insulted for his choice of Christmas tree. All leading up to that very touching second build-up to the closing, from Linus reciting the nativity story to help support Charlie Brown, and everyone else later gathering around to show their care for him and his tree. This special had a nice balance of clever writing for laughs and a lot of heart that could possibly touch a lot of people even in recent years. And, oh my god, this year was the special's 60th anniversary? Man, again, I was not planning that. Well, anyway, let's all hope this kind of heart and soul can still stick around and stay strong with us through the many years to come from here, because sometimes it helps to think back to stuff like this when we may really need it. Yeah, when it comes to the holidays, there's bound to be something in the Christmas variety that's bound to tickle your fancy as you get all comfy and ease into that festive mood, whether it's a nice long movie or a standard episode from one of your favorite shows. Now, obviously, the list doesn't stop here. There are still loads of Christmas episodes from many other shows we haven't covered yet that are still out there, whether they're from more anime, more cartoons, or maybe some live-action shows. And maybe if I gather a decent amount of more promising examples I might have never heard of or just completely forgot about, there'll likely be a follow-up next year if there's enough interest. And of course, if we all end up with enough availability and resources to get it done in the first place. But like I always say at the end of these videos, we'll soon see, won't we?
Shut that door!
Ha! It's me this time! Well, anyway, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everyone!